Um, you guys didn't see because I just started recording, but Nick did a little. He crossed himself before we started the episode. So now we know that this episode's going to be good because we have the Lord on our side. It's like a whole like God wills it kind of situation. So anyways, welcome to the I'm Clifford Today show. Bit of an unorthodox way of pun not intended.
Wait, I get it.
That was unintended. But as I said it, I was like, yeah. Bit of an unorthodox way to start the show. But hey, welcome to the I'm Clifford Today show. Today is just me and Nick. Josh was going to join us, and then he had something come up, something about moving. Which good luck with that, Josh. I didn't realize that he was moving. I don't know if he's moving himself. I guess these are questions that I could have asked him, and I didn't. But
lots of things, but both me and Clifford understand.
Yeah. That's you guys are informed as we are. So, but today's going to be a good episode. So, of course, we have my conversation with John Van Deusen, and it's a little complicated because so I met with John at Audiofeed, and we had about a half-hour conversation, which, by the way, was interrupted a few times by technical difficulties. So they're just a little heads up with you guys. Nothing bad. It's just that the video kept stopping, and so we kept having to stop for a little bit and then record again. And it happened a couple times. And eventually, after we talked for about a half hour, John just kind of had to cut it short because he had to get ready for a few things with his set that evening. But he said, hey, I'd love to get together again and have a part 2. So there is going to be a part 2. In fact, I will be talking with him as of our recording. I'll be talking with him tomorrow. So you guys will be getting this episode on Monday, and I will have already had that conversation. Fingers crossed that everything goes well. I will have already talked to him the day before that you guys are watching this right now. So there will be a part 2 that I promise you, and we may even we'll probably talk for even a little bit longer than a half hour. But I promise you guys that this half hour has a lot packed into it. I was actually surprised how much we covered in just 30 minutes. So I think it'll be worth your time for you guys to check it out. John was an absolute lad. He was a great guy to talk to, and excited to continue talking with him. So, which is crazy because like I've been a fan of John for a few years now, and it's just crazy that I like have him in my phone contacts, and we've just been like texting and calling. So yeah, it'll be a great conversation for you guys. Nick, have you really checked out much of John's stuff before?
Not at all. I am literally looking. I'm literally looking at his Spotify just to see what his discography looks like and how many monthly listeners he has. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's established.
Yeah, he's big. He's with he's in the Tooth and Nail affiliated crowd, and so he's definitely built up an audience. In fact, I didn't know this until after I talked with him, and I was just looking for some John Van Deusen videos. He was on KEXP a few years ago, so that's a pretty big deal. Yes, a lot of my favorite artists showed up on there. Yeah,
I got several of my favorites on there too.
Yeah, same. So it's awesome. So really glad to call myself an acquaintance of John. So yeah, I would definitely recommend his music to you, Nick. I think that you would appreciate a lot of it. It's a good mixture of singer-songwriter and like more Sometimes he gets more into like punk and rocky stuff. Good mixture of a lot of stuff that I think that you would appreciate. So,
all right.
Cool. Well, not really much in terms of housekeeping to do today. So the last episode we had our conversation with Josh from Make Sure, and so if you guys, if you guys are John Van Deusen fans, I definitely would recommend you check out Make Sure and check out this episode. It was a great conversation that I had with him, and we had one comment on the last episode, and it was from you, Nick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Nick Gundy says, "What? I didn't know you loved the Andor show. High five."
Oh yeah. I was like, darn it. I can't remember if we've ever talked about Star Wars shows.
Not a whole lot. Because as I said, so for context, at the beginning of my conversation with Make Sure, we just started talking about Star Wars for some reason, and I expressed how I hadn't really been a big fan of a lot of things Star Wars that has come out. I can
testify to that.
Yeah, in the past 20 years, like, because I've never really been a big fan of the prequels. I like the original trilogy, but there hasn't really been much else, like, outside of the original 2D Clone Wars show. I haven't watched the new one, but outside of that, there hadn't been much until I watched Andor. And honestly, I will say that I think Andor is the best Star Wars related thing that has been released since the original trilogy. Hot take, probably.
I agree to that.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad, because I know you're a big fan.
Because that's why I made the high five.
Yeah.
So I comment in it. I was like, yes. If there was any current Disney show sorry, I'm eating sushi.
You're good.
No, I'm telling them that you're fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying on behalf of them that you're good. So,
all right.
Whether they like it or not.
Mm-hmm. I like sushi. Anyway,
sushi's great.
Mm-hmm. Out of all, so like, oh yeah, as I was saying, like, out of all the Disney shows that have been released, Andor is my favorite because because related to that, Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie released under Disney.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny because
the Andor show is pretty much the prequel of the prequel to the OG trilogy.
Yeah, which is interesting because I tried watching the Rogue One movie and I got so bored and I didn't finish it. But that's more of a testament to Andor, if anything, because I watched Andor and it's great. And it gives you
it does give you a good build up into Rogue One.
Yeah, and it's not like that you really even need to have seen Rogue One in order to enjoy Andor, because it is a prequel,
and vice versa. So, like, it's it's complete. Like, both of them are complete in its own terms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I watched it with my parents and they had never seen Rogue One and they loved it. So yeah, it's just, that's the one thing that I love about that show is that it's a very well contained, like, it has a few references to like Star Wars related things, but it's a very self-contained show that like almost anyone could watch it. It's a great story, great characters, and I really hope that they don't mess it all up in season 2. So if anything, we've got a great season 1. So but I was surprised that you didn't that you hadn't heard that, because you must not be up to date on Podwood Forecast, because I definitely had Andor as my recommendation.
I'm definitely not up to date.
Yeah. You got to work on that, man. If you want to be on this show, You have to be up to date on all things.
I used to be so up to date on Podwood Forecast, and then then
it's not like it's that hard. We release an episode like every 3 months.
I listen to I mean, even I listen to podcasts and music almost every day, and then also started listening to Daily Scriptures. Shout out to Ancient Faith Radio, and also through them I found an audiobook of the Psalter, which is a self-contained book of the Book of Psalms.
Nice. Cool. Well, still no excuses. I'm trying to think.
No excuses.
It wasn't on the most, or was it on the most recent episode? It might have been on the new Spyro episode. Or the one...
that might be why I still didn't finish the Spyro episode.
Yeah, I think it's on that one.
Okay.
Either way, me and Mitchell are. I think we're going to try and get together for the next episode next week, and we'll be talking about Talking Heads, the band. So I'm looking forward to that. So
sweet.
But yeah. If you had listened to the episode, you would have known that Andor was my recommendation. So, but that's okay. All is forgiven. So yeah, that was all the housekeeping that we had. Was just the one comment from the co-host. So yeah, leave a comment on videos, guys, and I read all comments, but if you leave a comment on the most recent episode, I'll definitely read it on the show. And so yeah, and I think I said in the last episode, like, hopefully that's not discouraging people to comment because they don't want their comment read, but no one has said otherwise that they're uncomfortable with that. So just got to keep encouraging people. I think, so one thing we're also going to get into in this episode, we're not going to get into it yet. It's going to be after the interview. We're going to be talking about something that I've been wanting to address on the channel for a while. Just didn't really know how to implement it into the show. We're going to be talking about these fake Christian YouTube channels that I keep seeing popping up in the comment sections for Christian music videos and such, but I will explain it further once we come back. It's just a little something that I don't really see people talking about, and I think it's about time. So this is we're going to expose these Christian YouTube channels, and it's going to be a fun time. So all right, so
here I'm gonna put in quotations.
Yeah, quotations.
There we go.
Christian. Yeah. I actually highly doubt that they actually are Christian, but we'll get into that. All right. So without further ado, yeah, it's a little, incentive to get people interested to stick around. So we're going to get into the conversation with John Van Deusen. I think you guys will really enjoy it. We talk about all things relating to his career and what he's been up to, and things relating to his faith and creativity, the things that we love to talk about on this show. And I think John has some great insight into those topics. So it's going to be a fun time. So without further ado,
hooray!
Here is JVD, John Van Deusen.
When I wake up, what makes you stay? What makes you smile? What makes you calm? Give me a while. What makes you mine? What makes you mine?
All right, and that's...
Oh, we're being filmed. Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, YouTube?
What's up, YouTube? Hit the like and subscribe. Hit the bell. I'm joined here by JVD, John Van Deusen, here at Audiofeed Festival. I'm not really picking up a whole lot of outside sounds, but you might hear some of it. But these mics kind of just just work great for this
Yeah.
kind of setting, just like a crowded setting, and I think it's going to be okay. So, John, just you just got here.
I did.
You're just kind of running back and forth trying to get your food. You haven't eaten anything at all today?
I mean, I had an omelet at like 8:30.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I just need something. I need something in like the next 20 minutes. I'll be good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, they can get you set up with that.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here though.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for doing this. I reached out to John on Instagram. Not really sure if he would ever respond, but well, I mean, I guess I should have known better, because I remember there was one time, you probably don't even you wouldn't remember, but I remember I reached out to you a while ago asking you about one of your new songs, and it was about one of the songs from Marathon Days. You had that line, and I feel like I'm just kind of going right into it.
Great,
but,
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, the if there's a God, she's working on my insides.
Yeah,
and
maybe there is a God and she's working on my insides.
right, yeah. And I remember like, I was really hoping that I didn't come across as like, what do you mean by this? It was more like, oh, I'm curious. I'm sure that means something.
Yeah.
I wonder like if you would like get back to me on that, and you did, and you're very very cordial about it. And I remember you also explained it further on the you were on the JFH podcast not too long ago, but yeah, I do love that song. It's probably, I don't know if it's my favorite off that record. I also really loved Boring.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Boring was one of those songs where it's like, yes, like
Glad
he
you like
gets
it.
me.
Good.
Yeah. So, which kind of on top of that, and I know I haven't really gotten to a question yet. I saw you recently shared on social media a bunch of like albums and artists that had inspired you
Yeah.
over the years, and I was very excited to see that you had Keith Green on there. And it's funny because like speaking of Boring, I always thought that like Keith Green was just one of those voices that he had a lot of songs that were evangelizing to people and just like just straight up worship songs, but he also had songs where he basically took the time to like turn around to like the people in the church and be like, hey, we got to fix this issue.
Yeah.
And when I heard Boring, that was like right along those same kind of lines. And so I kind of see you in that same sort of vein as like one, at least these days, like one of the few voices that is like willing to write songs that are challenging to like the church in particular, or even like the Christian music industry. So I'd love to know like what was the story that like built up to writing that song? What did the frustrations look like, and what eventually just like triggered you into like penning that down?
That's a great question. Thank you, by the way, for everything you said. That's really kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I remember the exact moment and maybe why I wrote like, when did we get so boring? I think that's the first. When did we get so boring?
Yeah. Aside
but
from the choir singing at the beginning.
Yeah, true.
I think it's Latin.
The Salvation Choir singing in Swahili, actually.
Oh, Swahili. Okay.
Yeah, they're in Kansas City, so they're not too far from here.
Okay, nice.
But I actually think you mentioned the Newsboys before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before we started this interview.
Yeah, we were talking about the music that I liked.
And I think I had gone back and watched the music video to Shine.
Yeah, that's
And
a
I think
trippy video.
It is. It's really interesting. It's got some good humor.
Yeah.
It's tongue-in-cheek. It's ironic. But it's also really sincere.
Yeah.
And I think I was watching that and just thinking to myself, why, like, when did we lose our appetite, at least at large, within Christian culture for this type of music?
Right.
And I think that was kind of on my mind when I started writing Boring.
That's so cool.
It was at least a similar a time and space for me, and I think there's a lot of really good Christian art being made but in general, I just feel increasingly maybe uninspired by a lot of the Christian art I see, and
Yeah.
but I lump myself into that category, which is why it's, when did we get so boring? And then, of course, the refrain, the first chorus is hell if I know. Because I can't quite diagnose, like, why our cultural appetite for anything strange or noisy or even, like, tongue-in-cheek. It feels like Christian culture has kind of just lost its appetite for a lot of that. And because the Newsboys were weird.
They were.
Super weird. And their lyrics were hilarious.
Yeah. Thanks to Steve Taylor. He was a part of a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the, make me weird, make me noisy, prone to flipping tables crazy. I was actually thinking about Christ clearing the temple.
Right.
And not that Christ was crazy, God is my witness. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean sometimes I miss that kind of chaotic energy within Christianity where somebody can just have a righteous anger and flip some tables. So anyways, I'm glad you like the song. I also really like it. I think we're going to play it first tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's going to sound a little different than it does on the record, but
okay. That's totally
hope you
fine.
like it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. I mean, I saw you play last year, and you played a solo set, but this year you're doing a full band.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-piece.
Yeah.
It's pretty difficult for me to get a whole band of people out here because we had to fly, and my bandmates all have jobs and families, and so I have to pay them enough to convince them to get all the way out to this show, to play one show.
Right.
So it wasn't easy, but yeah, 3-piece set. So it's a bit louder, and we can do some of the more energetic songs that are harder for me to play as a solo artist. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
But yeah, especially to hear Boring, because I don't think you played that last year, which is fine. I forgive you.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, I just remember hearing that song and just I resonate with that so much because my followers, listeners will say that that's kind of a lot of what I talk about on the show because I cover everything from the indie scene, tooth and nail type stuff, all the way to mainstream. I have this annual list where I list the top 10 worst Christian hit songs of the year.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I did.
A bold move.
It's a little,
Man,
it's a little spicy.
I hope I never make that list.
Oh no! I mean, well, for one thing, the criteria is that you have to hit the the top 50 of the Christian charts.
So I'll never make that list.
And that's nothing against you. And that's something that always confuses me about like how Billboard charts works. Is like there are independent Christian artists that I know that I'm sure got more like streams or plays, like enough to get them in the charts, but they never show up for some reason. So I don't know how that works. We're good now. So sorry about that.
No worries.
Had my recording stop for like a minute. But you can go back to what you were talking about. You're talking about how you're basically part of your day-to-day job is writing for corporate worship and such.
So I write for a publishing company, and I write corporate worship. I write hymns and anything that a church might want to sing. And then my other job is I'm a director of worship at a church. So there's a congruency there, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying that I'm comfortable being known as a Christian artist. That's who I am.
Right.
For a long time, I wasn't comfortable with that. It took me quite a while. And you were talking about the Billboard charts and how it is a little confusing as to like how someone gets placed upon the chart.
Yeah.
But if I someday write a worship song that churches everywhere are singing, it might be the time in which I'm not saying it will happen, but that's at least plausible because of my job.
Yeah.
And it would be an interesting place to find myself, and I don't want to lose my edge
Right.
as an artist because I kind of enjoy being at least somewhat on the outer edges of culture.
Yeah, just kind of
Just enough. Yeah. And so, anyways, I do think because I write corporate worship and I'm a worship leader, and I make the type of music I make, I find myself in an interesting situation where, I'm working on an alternative worship record right now,
Nice.
and it probably won't happen, but there's always a chance that I write a kind of like How He Loves Us type song, like John Mark McMillan, where
Right.
a more independent artist suddenly has a song that like Chris Tomlin is singing,
Yeah.
which would place me in a very strange position.
Yeah, which I don't believe he even like planned for that to happen. It
No.
was just a song that he wrote, and then it just blew up. So
Yeah.
that could totally happen for
Yeah,
you.
and frankly, I'd love that only because the reason I like to write corporate worship, because I would love to write songs that people sing in church,
Yeah.
that they feel good about, like as far as being like intellectually honest with themselves about what they're singing.
Yeah.
It's really important to me, and
Yeah.
so I mean, I would love that for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see when I play tonight, I still do kind of find myself in a weird place where the spectrum of sound and lyrical content is wide,
Yeah.
and I do think it can be confusing for some people unless they've like taken the time to listen to multiple records in my catalog.
Right.
So I don't know. And maybe that's part of. Maybe I should always try to preserve that, not quite knowing where I fit in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you
I
affirm
agree.
that.
Yeah, because I think part of the problem today is that like it seemed like it was easier in like the 90s and early 2000s, like those days of Christian music, but it seems that like everything is categorized where like this is mainstream Christian music, worship, this is alternative, but like this weekend we're supposed to be having a Rich Mullins tribute set. Rich Mullins, I think, was the perfect kind of example of an artist who like was kind of in between those, and like it was perfectly acceptable back then, but these days it's like either straightforward alternative or it's straightforward like worship, CCM,
Yeah. Well, I think Rich Mullins is, I mean, one can only hope to exist in that space like
True.
he did.
Yeah.
I mean, what a goal personally. I would love to be at a place where I write songs that people really kind of like, for people all over the Christian map can connect with, because it's hopefully like theologically sound and
Right.
enriches their soul and brings them closer to Christ.
Right. Yeah.
But also be able to write some songs that make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you're talking
Challenging.
about with Keith Green.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, because even Keith Green, I think he even faced a situation where people wanted to take his albums out of stores
oh, I'm sure.
because like he dared to have a line that said, it's like, I want more than Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you can't come to me every day, don't bother coming at all. It's like
Yeah.
people look to Keith Green now as like kind of being like a legend in Christian music, but like back then not everyone was happy with him.
Yeah.
So
True.
But yeah, I kind of see you in that way where like you had a whole album that was basically worship, and then you have like most of all your other albums you're writing very like challenging stuff, and I think that's great. And
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, because like, so kind of like going back in your career history, you started out with a band, the Lonely Forest, which I will say I haven't listened to yet.
That's fine.
But you started out your solo career with this I Am Origami project, just like right off the bat, debut album, part one of this I Am Origami project. So I'd love to hear like what is the heart behind this, I guess, series project, and Are you almost done with it, or have you finished the last record?
I think Marathon Days is the
final?
last one because I think I just felt like as an artist I needed to kind of look to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to the deluxe version of Marathon Days, it includes an arc that I felt like just finished it for me.
Right.
So I started that project and I named it such because I kind of wanted to release a couple different albums that felt different from one another, but I wanted them to belong together in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just a not so clever way of forcing people to see it as one big art project.
Sure, yeah.
You know, the idea that like you can take a piece of paper and make a origami crane, but you can also make an origami frog.
Mm-hmm.
They're made from the same substance, but they're different. That was basically the idea of the I Am Origami title.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I'm really glad I did it that way.
Yeah.
And it's cool because someone might connect with part 3 or part 2 and they'll see the title realizing, oh, there's a part 1 or there's a what else is out there. And
yeah.
It has kind of like spurred people on to look and dig for the other records, which is nice for me.
Sure.
And The Lonely Forest was such a big part of my life for so long, and I've always been fairly prolific, at least as a songwriter. I'd write too many songs, and so we just had so many songs left over that the band couldn't agree on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember thinking, like looking at a list of demos, it was like 150 songs long, thinking I should release these even if it's just for fun. And so that's kind of how it began.
So a lot of the, like, at least for the first album, a lot of those songs were originally Lonely Forest songs.
Lonely Forest songs.
Wow.
Even a couple that made it onto later records were, at least started, the genesis of them were Lonely Forest songs.
Yeah.
The next record I have that should be coming out soon is actually all of the B-sides from part 3.
Okay.
And the songs are so old. Like one of the choruses I wrote when I was 14. I'm almost 37. So it's
great,
actually
though.
hard. It is hard for me to sing some of the songs because when I was younger, I was pretty chaotic and just not super healthy as a person. And those songs kind of reflect that part of me. So there was a while where I actually didn't think I would release it at all because I was like, I don't want to sing these songs anymore. They're so old, and I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit lyrically, and because of that, some of the songs are still pretty raw.
Right.
But I do think I'm gonna release that record. It's called Anthem Sprinter.
Okay.
It will be out on Tooth and Nail if all goes well.
Nice.
And then the alternative record I'm working on now will come out after that.
Okay.
And I'd be curious what you think of The Lonely Forest.
Yeah.
It's not too dissimilar. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I only discovered your music like a few years ago. I think I'm blanking on the name. It was the third I Am Origami album.
Yeah.
That was when I got on the John Van Deusen bandwagon.
Cool.
So I still kind of feel like I've been playing catch up, but like
cool.
That album and Marathon Days, absolutely loved. And then I've just recently been going back to, your first 2 albums.
Yeah.
And so I knew, like, it was in your biography and such. Like, he was in this band, the Lonely Forest. I'm like, okay, I'll have to check that out one of these days.
Yeah. Some of it makes me cringe just because, when you make stuff when you're younger, it's kind of rough. But
yeah.
Braden, who's playing drums with me tonight, he played in The Lonely Forest.
Okay.
And he's played on essentially everything I've ever released. So I would say if you do watch us play tonight and you enjoy watching him play drums, you should go back and listen to The Lonely Forest because he's kind of an animal.
Yeah.
He really is. He also plays drums in Buffet, which is the punk band I've played in the past.
Oh, okay.
Great drummer. So there's just rocking out to this.
It's a good jam. It's a good thing about Audiofeed. You can just kind of sit here and just like hear what else everyone's playing.
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect last year when I came. I was really surprised.
Yeah. Your first time last year?
Yeah, I don't go to festivals, and I've never been a part of like Christian festivals, and I know this is kind of like we said earlier, Christian adjacent. I guess is a good way to say it. But I think I was pleasantly surprised at how weird Audiofeed is.
Yep. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. Speaking of other like projects that you've done, something else that you did recently that I absolutely fell in love with was Telephone Friends. You worked with Tyson on that. So how did that come together for you guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. We toured together, Tyson, Matzenbacher, and I. And we've known each other a long time. And a friend named Matt Wright opened up on that tour. And then our friend Patrick played bass in Tyson's band. Anyway, so we got to hang out and got to know each other. I want to say that was like 2017, maybe. Became friends. And then my wife and I lived down there in North County, San Diego. That's where they all live.
Yeah.
And so we just hung out a lot and started talking about writing a rock record just for fun.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit and I had moved up north again. So we did our first writing session via Zoom. That's why we named our band Telephone Friends.
I like
kind of like a postal service thing.
Yeah.
And it just came together. I mean, truthfully, there's a lot of songwriting prowess in that band. Like the other guys are just really talented.
Oh, sure.
Our drummer Aaron is
like, aside from you and Tyson, like all the other guys too. Nice.
Yeah, and our drummer Aaron is just so good at the drums.
Yeah.
And so it just happened really easily. It wasn't a lot of work. We recorded for 3 days and then we have a record.
Nice.
So we're gonna make another one.
Oh, okay.
Always kind of like straddling the line between like joke music, and serious music, trying to find that intersection of like, we want you to
like joke and serious.
We want you to tear up a little in a song, but we also want you to laugh really hard. Right. I would say that live, it's more on the comedy side. So I hope someday you get to see Telephone Friends play.
Absolutely. I was actually telling Ryan Getz, who is one of the runners of Audiofeed, we were talking about like potential musicians to bring on Audiofeed. And I first brought up like, well, you got to bring on Tyson someday.
Yeah,
and
I
was like, you know what? If you got both John and Tyson one year, you might as well just get Telephone Friends.
You absolutely should. I endorse this.
Okay.
I mean, Matt Wright, the other vocalist in the band, you got to get him too. I mean, we just maybe we're just a package deal. You
and
know?
that's just like 4 artists in the lineup, just all taken care of.
Yeah, but you can't pay us like one artist though. Audiofeed. You gotta.
Well, I'll let you and Ryan figure that out, but I'll be sure to let him know. Let him know. Let him see this.
Whatever makes you mine. Whatever makes you mine. Whatever makes you stay. Whatever makes you smile. Whatever makes you come. If you be wild. Whatever makes you mine. Whatever makes you mine.
This time on the Podwood Forecast.
He does.
If you can't catch it, never go around it. Can't push me out fighting.
Cough core.
Never gonna give it up, no.
All right, next question. How old then in limit cut? What the?
4.
No, that is not an option.
Anyways, I was at lunch and I have like a very strong memory of legitimately getting in a fight with another kid. Not like a physical fight. We were like sitting, just like arguing over
Flying
who was
fists.
like a bigger Spyro fan. And one of my reasons for being the bigger Spyro fan was I told him, well, purple's my favorite color. And he was like, oh man, he's like, dang it, red is my favorite color. Shoot. And
truly
I was
bested me with
lying.
that.
Green was my favorite color, but I lived the lie of purple being my favorite color, and it is now.
Wow.
I
The truth come out on this podcast.
as a kid, it's my favorite color now. Darkness imprisoning me all around me.
Oh, I see absolute horror.
See, I don't know, for some
Listen
reason.
to the Podwood Forecast wherever podcasts are found.
Guys, I just got done with a video call interview for the show, and I have to say that it was like the smoothest experience ever. Didn't have any issues or anything, and the video came out almost perfect. And do you know why? It's because I used Riverside. Riverside is your online recording studio where you can record a conversation with any guest online. You can easily record podcasts and videos in studio quality from anywhere, all from your browser or their mobile app. All you have to do is get your setup ready, send your guests a link for them to join, have them join from their phone or their computer, and just chat away. A lot of podcasts that you listen to are probably using Riverside, honestly. What sets Riverside apart is that a recording of your audio and your video is happening locally on your computer. So even if your connection isn't that good, it doesn't ruin the entire recording or anything. Once you've finished recording, you will get the individual tracks of each speaker and also a combined one. You'll receive all the raw files, including that Pepsi crystal clear uncompressed audio in up to 4K video. There's also lots of really cool features where you can edit your video right in their site. So, if you're a YouTuber, a podcaster, or streamer, or a content creator of any kind, and you want to have high quality conversations with your guests, please use my link in the description and sign up for Riverside. If you want to support me and the channel, please use my link since I end up getting a cut from the sales. I'm not joking. Please support me. Sign up for Riverside and start recording today. Hey you. Are you a Christian artist, musical artist, or a musical artist who is a Christian? Well, you got music, that you made, you got music that you're trying to get out there. Do you want it to be on my show? Well, it can be, and here's how. You go to the link in the description, submit a form, fill that all out, send me your music, and we'll get the song of your choice on this segment, the Spotlight segment, and the whole world will hear your music. And it's gonna be great. And I'm out of breath for some reason. Be a Spotlight artist today. Maybe not today, in the next episode. But it's gonna be fun. It's completely free. All I ask is that you promote the show, promote the episode that your song is on, and that's it. That's all I ask. But I want to support you. I want to support other Christian artists and get your stuff out there. So, yeah. Let's do it, baby. Spotlight artist, become one. Be it. Yeah. That's the ad. So we had another technical issue, so apologies. And John is eating his tacos. How are those tacos?
They're pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. I had some Chipotle for lunch earlier. Okay, so anyways, we were talking about telephone friends. Also, seeing your friend wearing your shirt reminded me of something else that I wanted to talk about, because Something else that you shared on social media not too long ago was some mock-up album designs that you did. Do you design, like, basically, did you design your previous albums? Sorry. If we need to wait for you to finish up, that's totally okay.
It just makes it more interesting.
Yeah. There's like
I
hot
designed
ones.
some of them. I have a friend named Paul who has done a lot of the album layout for me. But yeah, part 1 is just a photograph of my face. Part 2, my wife colored in that Albrecht Dürer print that's on the
Yeah.
cover of it, and I did all the collage work from the rest of the record.
Nice.
Part 3 is a collage artist from Portugal. Part 4 was me doing collage.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that was one of the things that like really drew me to your music in the first place, was seeing the Part 3 album cover, because it's so like it's very simple, but in a sense it's like very chaotic, just like that, whatever that photograph was, and with like
I know.
the gems coming out of her face, it's like it's so violent in a way, but like very interesting. So where did you say that came from?
There's a collage artist named Hugo Barres out of Lisbon,
Okay.
who I've loved for a long time, and he had those up on his website. There's a front and a back on that
Okay.
record,
Right.
and I just wrote him and said, "Hey, can I use these?" Because they felt right. The energy felt right to me.
Yeah, it fits perfectly.
So, anyways, he said yes, and then Tooth and Nail made it happen, and I was happy as could be.
Cool.
And then the artwork for Marathon Days is really important to me because, it's a statue of
It's Cain,
David
right?
killing,
Oh, David. Okay.
killing Goliath,
Right.
and he's naked,
Mm-hmm.
and it's violent, but it's a work of Christian art.
Right.
But he's naked and he's killing somebody, and something about that combination
Yeah.
maybe speaks to the lyrics of Boring as well, but something, it felt very transgressive to me. And I don't think it's a transgressive record, but the idea behind that record was to write something that was just like abstract enough lyrically that some Christians would find it uncomfortable, and then seeking, like spiritual seekers, would find it intriguing.
Yeah.
It's like trying to find a middle ground there, and I think I succeeded. I don't know if I did, but so yeah, I like that album art a lot, and I've made like 20 covers for my next record.
So you
You're
have
gonna tell me if I have food on my face, right?
Yeah, you're
Right?
good.
YouTube? All right.
Yes. Well, I mean, camera's far enough away that it probably wouldn't pick it up.
I look
but
great.
Yes. You just like smile, give a thumbs up, and then the sparkle in your teeth. But that's great. So you have you always had like a passion for like design and such? It just kind of happened while you were making the music. I like it. That's yeah, I appreciate that so much about what you were saying. I mean, we talked about this in the beginning. Maybe I transitioned out of it too soon because it's a topic that I love talking about. I don't know. You probably know Josh Porter from Showbread.
I know of him.
Right. Okay. He recently wrote this book called "With All Its Teeth," and I would highly recommend you check it out if you haven't.
You're like the third person to recommend it. so-
Really?
yeah.
Well, I actually had Josh on the show, and we talked a lot about it. And it was it's probably my favorite read of the year so far, just because. And it makes sense knowing him and like Showbread's history, but he talks a lot about like art and what that has to do with like the church and Christianity, and how like a lot of like you see it even in the Bible. You know, you mentioned like David killing Goliath. Like there's a lot of viscerality. There's uncomfortableness and it was like this is the Bible, you know, and it's just so shocking how like there's an entire industry of Christian music, Christian entertainment, and how it just all seems so safe, you know, and which I get. Sometimes we need safety, sometimes we need comfort, I guess.
Yeah.
But when it seems to, I guess, saturate the entire spectrum of Christian art, I start to question that, you know, when there's so much even in the Bible that is like, you know, not very family friendly, you know. And so that's what I appreciate about, you know, a lot about your music and how, like, it's not all safe. It's a lot of it is challenging and makes you just kind of think about that, think about things. And so,
Thank you.
yeah,
That means a lot to me.
absolutely. And so, I guess what's the question that I'm really trying to
You're getting there.
to go for? Has that always been, I guess, your desire in your music? Like, is that kind of a drive for you to just like make people uncomfortable?
You know, I think that has been a driving factor in my like creative process for a long time. Even when I was really young and I was just beginning to release music, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
I think I always just liked instigating, and I think transgressive is a good word. I liked to like trespass into people's space. And that was when I was younger, like it often came out in a really like unhealthy way, truthfully. But if you listen to The Lonely Forest, and if you even listen to my solo music before The Lonely Forest, I was always kind of antagonistic. And I think now I've shed a lot of that, or maybe matured and realized that I think some of it's just how God made me. I think sometimes God makes certain people to be that way so that we can kind of, you know, elbow people around us and be like, hey, are we sure we're okay about what's happening? Or I've often felt like I've been one of those people. But I think right now, artistically, I want to be transgressive by maybe breaking barriers artistically, but not necessarily in a way that is like combative or like purposely making people uncomfortable. Like, I love this record I'm working on because it's a lot of it's just worship music, but there's also like a lot of noise, and there's stuff that's really heavy, and so I think breaking barriers, if that's the right term, I'm trying to think of maybe there's a better word.
Breaking barriers, I mean, I think that works.
That feels too lofty. I'm thinking like simpler, like
this is the artist in you coming out, the songwriter.
Yeah, maybe. I just mean like I want to make a record that doesn't quite sound like anything else that's been made.
Sure.
And so in order to
new
do
ground.
that, you just kind of have to like stretch yourself a little.
Yeah.
But I also really want to make music that 20 years from now people are coming back to because it brought them closer to Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I really love the Lord, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And when I write music that I feel like if I'm worshiping when I write and I record, it is the most blissful experience I've ever had in my life. It's like I feel like this is what I was made to do. And so I don't want to lose that by purposefully alienating people. Like I maybe occasionally alienating people because of the production, but I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older and because I have kids now, but I'm less interested in pushing people's buttons, and maybe just more interested in making what I like.
Sure.
Like I feel very affirmed by God when it comes to the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Like I love noise music, and I genuinely worship when I make it.
Sure.
Like there are moments tonight where we're just gonna be making noise, and I love doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyways, I think I'm getting less puckish as I get older, but I do think I'll probably always have a little bit in me that's like Telephone Friends played a show recently, and I had this incredible urge to flip off the crowd a lot. Not because I
Really?
didn't, and it wasn't because I didn't like them. It was like this feeling, like maybe it stemmed
That
from
punk
something in my
attitude.
youth. I just wanted to be like, ah, and I didn't, because I thought there are kids here,
Yeah.
and I don't really want their parents to have to like try to explain like why did he do that, Dad? But I'm just saying that's still in me.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's great. That's something great to always, hold on to, at least to some degree. But you are right. Like, while the two aspects about your music that I appreciate, like, while I have been talking up the more like kind of rebel button pushing kind of attitude,
Yeah.
I also greatly respect how you can switch that and just like turn your songs into to surrender to God. And because I feel like if all of your music was about the button pushing and like the asking the questions, might be like, is John okay?
I think that's boring.
Yeah, there you go. Nice nice pun. I don't know if that was unintentional.
Call
or not.
back, yeah.
Yeah.
And
All right.
we are back.
We're
and
back. We're
And
so back.
yeah, and future Nick really enjoyed this interview.
Well, good. I'm glad. I guess I forgot to ask you about the last interview, but
I did like that interview as well. And like when you mentioned that his opinion on guns, like it was actually a lot more tame than I anticipated.
sure, yeah. It was just funny because it just kind of came out of nowhere.
I was
But
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy the conversation with John. Again, thanks to John for coming on, and I'm excited to be talking with him again tomorrow. You guys will be checking out, and so I'm sure in the next episode, Nick will have further thoughts on today's episode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish there was a way for you to watch them. It's just kind of hard to like send over large video files, and also to make you commit to watching a whole interview before an episode. So
I mean, like the easiest thing that I can think of is just like you can upload the video part onto your YouTube, just have it unlisted or
it's like a private,
and then
that's true.
And then you can just copy and paste the link to me, and I can just watch it.
True.
And then,
yeah.
And then whenever you're done with it, like prior to uploading the next podcast episode, then you can just delete it.
That's true. I might try that in the future, but either way. Also, I realized during our break that I totally forgot to present the album of the week at the beginning. So I apologize for all you guys that you guys like tradition and habit. I'm sorry for throwing you off, but today we are joined by another Keith Green album. So You Want to Go Back to Egypt. Excellent album. It's got Bob Dylan playing harmonica on one of the songs.
What? Bob Dylan? That wasn't on my bingo card.
Yeah. Keith Green and Bob Dylan kind of briefly knew each other.
Nice.
Especially during Bob Dylan's, well, say Christian phase, but there actually is reason to believe that Bob Dylan is still a believer. He's just not been as open about it as he was before. But
Again, never knew that either.
oh, really? Oh, no, yeah.
Not at all.
Bob Dylan had a bit of a Christian phase. He's got one or two Christian albums. I think one of them was Trains a Comin', which is one of the ones that I have. His most popular hit from that era was You Gotta Serve Somebody. So, yeah, Bob Dylan, at least at some point, was a Christian. Not sure if he still is, but that'd be cool if he was, because I'm a fan. So, anyways, John Van Deusen, Keith Green, we're going to get into a little bit of, I don't know, I guess journalism, I guess you could say. So I want
Isms.
yeah. Oh no isms. So I wanted to explain myself, both to you guys and to Nick, because Nick is also in the dark a little bit on this subject. So something that I've noticed, and we're going to look into it for ourselves, is that when you ever go on, like say that you watch some very popular Christian song on YouTube. No, you've got your shades on.
I gotta give my eyes a break.
Okay. Oh, are those like for screens and such?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks very cool. It makes you look like that you're like on the case. So we're doing some detecting in this episode. So if you ever go to like any popular Christian song on YouTube from like the past few years that has like over 1 million views, like sometimes it doesn't always have to be over 1 million, but more often than not, that's where you would find them. You go in the comments section, and I've noticed these comments from these accounts. I'd see comments on these videos where they're usually like some sort of testimony, like and they usually don't have anything to do with the song, but they're vague enough, and because like the song is Christian, usually like a worship song, that no one really notices. But there'll be comments like, "Oh, I'm 16 and I listened to this song," or I'll listen to this song and I got saved because of it. Or there'll be something like, my grandmother passed away, but she got saved before she died. Very vague, like Christian
you know what?
testimony type things.
I actually have seen some of those
Yeah,
comments
you
as well.
probably have.
But not for me. It's usually not in those worship song videos, live session, whatever. It's also slightly prevalent in the internet Orthodox sphere as well.
Oh, really?
And even in the Roman Catholic sphere as well. I've seen some of those things. Some of them, if they're legit teenagers watching these videos and are getting interested, great. But it's equally possible they're the same fake accounts as you mentioned.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that something I noticed about the accounts, because I got a little suspicious, like, why do I keep seeing comments like this? And they're not always about like teenagers. They're just like some sort of vague story to get a bunch of likes. But I started noticing something common about the account names, and sometimes even I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was going to say, but yeah, just like commonalities, like the account names and like their profile pictures. And so I started,
or lack of,
well, they're usually something like maybe a picture of a cross or something Christian like.
That too.
And so I started like clicking on what these channels were, and so we're going to look into that ourselves. Let's see. I'm going to try and share my screen. Doobie-doo-doo. YouTube. Okay.
Okie dokie.
Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not going to like have audio or anything, but so
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did that just say Reliant K Skittles?
yeah.
What are you doing?
it's an actual song. There's a whole story behind it, but it's a hidden track on what is the name of the album? Anatomy of the Anatomy of the Tongue in Cheek. Is a hidden track called Skittles and Combos. And I was just looking it up because it's not available on Spotify. But anyways, that's beside the point. So, okay, Nick, I'm going to ask you to see if you can think of a popular Christian song that we can look up a video to from like the past few years. Just anything that comes to your head.
There's one by Passion we used to do a lot. Holy Ground. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can. Holy Ground.
It's been a couple years since I listened to this song, but like it still goes hard.
It's over 4 million views, so there's a good chance that we'll find one of these comments. On
Yeah.
here.
They say that
no,
breakfast
don't
is the most important meal of the day.
Don't want
My
McDonald's.
ears.
Oh, is that really loud? I wonder if I can.
That's fine. No, it's fine.
I'm not going to have the audio on. I'm going to mute it because the audio is not the important part. Doesn't seem like I can control the volume on here anyways, but it should stay muted. Okay, so we got Passion, Holy Ground featuring Melody Malone. Let's look in the comments.
Let's count.
Okay, I don't think we found any luck here. All these comments seem to be very specific to the video and to the conference. So, yeah, no luck here. It's usually one of the first comments. So let's try somewhere else.
Let's try.
It doesn't even have to be a song that you like. Just a song that's popular.
There's one by Hillsong. What was it called? Beautiful Name?
What a Beautiful Name.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we can do that. Hillsong. That's a good one. I mean, not that it's a good song. I mean, it's a fine song, but
yeah, this
is a popular song that I think will, 558 million views. My goodness. Okay. Here we go. Okay.
Sweet. All right, now here we go.
Worship Song Collection 79 says, Jesus healed my wife from cancer. Thank you, Jesus. To him be the glory. And if you look at the replies, everyone's just like, believing it. They're like, wow, Jesus really is the best. Let me get an amen. Jesus, like, amen, blah, blah, blah.
I'm so sad.
So if you look at the account name, like Worship Song Collection 79, Jesus healed my, and it's got this picture of the Bible, the cross coming out of it. But let's look at the account of what this is. Worship Songs Collection. Look at these videos where they're like hours long.
Also, I want to see. I want to see like the description.
Oh, okay.
Of like,
I don't know if there is one.
Usually, the Worship Songs Collection, you click more.
Here we go.
There we go.
Subscribe for more. Please check out more best Christian worship songs. And all these hashtags for Hillsong Christian songs. And it's got these videos that are like hours long of playlists. Not many views. Let's see if okay, they've got a video from 2 months ago that has 13,000 views. Whoa. And that's basically all like copyrighted songs. Oh, they even got like lyric videos on here. Okay, that makes sense. From very popular worship songs. Okay, so there's one, and it's like, that's kind of weird. But one thing that I also, because I mentioned that there'll be comments saying like, I'm 16 and I just got saved. But if you look at the account, it's like all these videos of worship. Like, there's no way you're some 16-year-old that just got saved. You got all these videos. So hopefully we'll see something like that. Let's think of another song.
Okay.
Maybe we can see
Egypt by, I think. Or
is that
yeah. Oh,
Elevation Worship? No, is that Bethel?
Yeah, but I want to take a look at the sidebar first.
Oh, okay. Just see what's on here. We got I Surrender, Hillsong Worship, Yeshua.
You say
whoever this is.
Oceans.
Okay. Lauren Daigle should have something. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah, let's go there.
No, we don't want Taco Bell.
I actually had Taco Bell for the first time last month with the E-Ray guys, and I survived.
What? You've never had Taco Bell before?
Like, I've had Taco Bell, but just like not a lot of it.
Okay.
And like usually it's because of fear and the cheapness of it. Just like
sure.
I'm just afraid it'll internally destroy me.
Well, that's kind of the meme, is that Taco Bell just destroys everyone's stomach. It's not always consistent.
Thankfully, I live.
Good, yeah. See, I don't think it's that bad when it comes to
I didn't even get anything that crazy. I think it was just like a cheese quesadilla.
Yeah. I mean, almost anything I eat gives me diarrhea anyways, but
I'm sorry, dude.
That's my problem.
Okay. We can try in Jesus' name after this one too.
Sure, yeah. Well, I already see two here. We've got Music Praise 7618. See, they always have names like this, where it's like Worship Collection, Music Praise, and we got Gospel Music TV. So Music Praise says, I put this comment here so that every time someone likes it, I'll be reminded of this song because it heals something in me. But let's look at their account. All these
it's still the same thing.
All these playlist videos, and I'm sure some of these pictures they're probably AI generated now. Maybe not the old ones, but see, look at that. It's the same thing. It's a different channel, but it's the same thing.
I swear one of those thumbnails looked like Keanu Reeves.
Really? Which one? Was it this one?
Let's see. No, it was probably under.
This one?
No.
That one? That one kind of looks like him.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Come here. I will teach you Kung Fu. Yeah, it's true. Maybe Keanu Reeves will play Jesus one day. It's going to happen.
I hope not.
Let's go back to that, and let's go to Gospel Music TV.
Okay.
This is a little different.
Ooh.
It's got, so these are shorts. What? Oh, interesting. So these are, what? Gospel music, pray all the time, pray to God. So these are...
This looks like...
Let me play the audio real quick. Okay. Sorry if that was too loud.
Always.
Always too loud.
This looks like these look like super mini infomercials for YouTube.
Yeah. It's just basically content farming. So it's kind of the same thing as before. A little different, but you get what I'm saying. So it's like, obviously these channels are just they're commenting as a way to like sort of promote their channel to get people to click on their channel and like find their videos. It's an interesting marketing technique. I've heard of it of people doing that, of like using commenting as a way to sort of promote yourself, but it kind of, and we'll try to find more, but it kind of makes me wonder if like, are these real? Are these bots? Are they like AI bots? Or because there's a lot of them, and sometimes I've found the same channel commenting on a different video, and it's funny too, because like it'll be like two contradicting stories. Like the one comment will be like, I'm 16 and I just got saved, and then the other comment they'll leave be like, I've been married to my wife for 50 years and and Jesus has always been there for us. So what was the one song that you suggested?
It was Egypt by Bethel featuring Corey Ashbury, but however, I'm looking at the Dear Atheist video for Isaiah.
Dear Atheist.
Because I'm like, oh, there could be something too.
What is that?
I don't know.
Is it
it says sponsored.
Oh, okay. Was it something that was on my screen?
No.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I mean, yeah, it was like it's there. It's just there. So that first video of Egypt, you look at that one.
Yeah, let's see. Doesn't have as many views, but I'm sure we'll find it. Don't care about masterclass.
Another catchy one. Again, it's been a couple of years since
I've
listened to that one.
Oh, here we go. Praise and worship songs 4322.
That looks familiar.
I was Muslim and converted to being a follower of our Lord Jesus Christ. I prayed to God one time with all my heart and asked him to show me if he's real. Then Jesus came into my life. The Holy Spirit is, I say Holly because they spelled it with two L's, is guiding me, and I will start preaching in God's name one day to bring this gift of true love and happiness to less fortunate and lost souls. Amen. 4 heart emojis, praying emoji, and angel emoji. Well, let's take a look here. Yep, it's all the same stuff.
Another one.
Oh, and they have a premiere coming up on the 10th for all the same stuff. All these playlist videos of worship songs. Oh, the sacraments of the sacrament of confession. Why do Catholics practice it? That's kind of an odd video to have in there.
So, well, they had a pocket, but like on a side note, I found out a majority don't even do confession. And I'm like, what? Or I'm like, back then I'm like, what?
Of
and
Catholics?
That's a rabbit. Yeah, and that's just a rabbit hole. I mean, it is important. It is important, but again, it's a rabbit hole. So
yeah, won't go down that rabbit hole.
Not today.
Yeah. Okay, so there was one. I wonder if there were any others. I wonder if maybe this one. Oh, there's a Hillsong Worship right there. What's Mr. Cub fan? Let's see if. No, that seems to be
Go Cubs and got nothing.
Seems to be a real person. I just kind of wonder, like maybe they're going to get into baseball territory, but no. So, there's 2 more. Hillsong Worship here. My husband was abused physically and had cancer as a child. When I met him, he stuttered so bad. Okay. So bad he could barely state his name. Today he speaks clearly, is cancer-free. Man, that's tough luck, having a stutter and cancer. And a great father to both our children. The victory belongs to Jesus. He's all I need.
No, wait a minute. They're calling stuttering a bad thing?
Yeah, what the heck? Okay, well, not as many videos on here, but there's like 2. Yeah. And I guess shorts. I guess they're moving on to shorts now. I don't understand. I mean, I guess shorts can do well on YouTube because like they can just appear anytime if you're just
but it's also cold
shorts.
outside, so you need to wear long pants.
Yeah, wait, what? Oh, shorts. Very funny. Grown. The whole
Okay, I'll go.
audience just groaned. Lost 100 subscribers. No more of that. It's not allowed on my channel. Okay, so and let me go back to that other one. I mean, everyone gets the point, but I just kind of want to nail it in, so that people know at Worship Library, all
What's
these
that
videos.
symbol?
Which symbol? Oh, right here.
Like yeah.
It looks like just a cross with fire on it. And there's a dove. I don't know what's in the center there.
I don't know, but it looks like my tattoo.
Which tattoo?
This one.
I need to. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is. Yeah. Huh. Weird. What is it supposed to be?
Oh, it's the fire, like the early rebel symbol. It's a Firebird Phoenix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I doubt that that's what they're trying to go for, but I think it's okay. So these are centered around this guy, Minister GUC or Guck. So this channel is a little different. Oh, and this one has a lot. I feel like it has a lot more views than the other ones.
Gook. No. Gook.
Is he a gospel singer? Maybe Josh would probably know this. It's I mean, it just seems to be the same thing, but let me see. Okay, so maybe it is like specific to this guy, whoever he's supposed to be. Oh well, I mean, at least they're doing their own thing there, kinda, sorta. Yeah. So yeah, let me look up. I want to look up Newsboys. God's Not Dead. I mean, it's an older song, but something is going to show up, though. Oh, sorry. I need to mute it. I don't care about the new Razor or whatever this is. Skip. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because we're not watching the video. Oh, look, there's a comment from me.
Oh, hey. I want to read it.
That's from 12 years ago. Hold on.
I know, but still, I want to read it.
Doesn't look like that there's anything
I still remember
here.
like when it first premiered it.
Yeah.
I used to first hear it from the CIY conferences.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think this is supposed to be a response to another comment. It seems that you're the one who needs to read the Bible, especially the parts where it says to be loving towards others and the fellow Christians around us, especially to certain YouTube viewers. We are only humans and we don't know everything and we all have our different opinions. We should keep our opinions to ourselves and stop acting like we know everything and everyone else is wrong. Plus, no matter what the wording of these lyrics, I think we can all agree on the Newsboys' intentions. Okay. I don't...
Well, everything went downhill from there.
Yeah. I certainly don't. Why did I say we need to keep our opinions to ourselves? Why?
I don't know.
I've changed in the past 12 years. I think I seem to remember finding someone who was upset that they were referring to God as a lion. And they're like, well, the Bible says that Satan is like a lion. So why would they say that God's like a lion? And it's like, well, because he's the Lion of Judah, so so I seem to remember finding someone who said something like that, so that might have been it. But it's just funny because this definitely would have been around the time where I used to like this song. I obviously don't anymore. And this was also when on YouTube, where if you were replying to someone years later, it wouldn't look like that you that you were responding to someone, because replies are a lot different than when they used to be. But anyways, so I guess I didn't find anything there. I just wanted to find one more video. There's the Dear Atheist video you were talking about. I wonder what that is.
Yeah.
Isaiah Robin. It must be me because my name is Isaiah. Let's see. One more song. What's a popular song nowadays? How about let's do The Blessing.
Oh no! Oh no! Here we go, guys.
Don't worry, we're
Here we
not
go
gonna
again.
not gonna listen to it.
I know, but still.
You like bring your crucifix out. You're like, no, away, away, you evil thing.
Nope, mine's upstairs.
Oh, okay. Grace.
I only got my other necklace though.
Okay. Oh, there's one. Gospel Hymns 8.
Ooh, so timely.
This song is
I only
so
say that.
timely.
I only say it like that.
It's so timely.
I always say that because like it's in that wording was in all caps.
Yeah. You got to read it in all caps. This song is so timely for my family and I. My 13-year-old sister has cancer. Everyone has cancer. And Sunday, I had gotten a call from my parents asking to gather all of my siblings to come and say our goodbyes. We prayed. We asked for a miracle. And here we are 5 days later, and my sister has made a miraculous recovery. And doctors are in awe.
Oh!
R.I.P. to headphone users. Let's take a look at their channel. Oh, look. It's all the
We got
same
more
stuff. But now it's all like elevation worship centric. Like there's Brandon right there, Brandon Lake, and the other guys, probably Chandler Moore and Dante Bowe. I don't know the different, like I don't know how different they look, so I'm sorry if that's offensive to anyone. But yeah, so like Maverick City music, elevation centric stuff. So it seems like
I do remember, like as a side comment, I remember back in the day when like elevation was on a good track, and of course they fell off.
Yeah, I mean
Eventually.
they kind of they're. I mean, yeah, there has been some elevation stuff that I've enjoyed. I can't say that they're all bad. I mean, I've even talked about the ones that I liked on the channel. But the big thing for me was like all the stuff with, like, I just don't like Stephen Furtick. And I guess it's just that whole movement in general of modern worship that I have a lot of qualms about. But that's not what this episode is about. So yeah, I think I've made my point that these channels just keep commenting on popular Christian music videos, and basically what they're doing is just content farming. They're getting people to, which I don't know, maybe they're also buying some of the likes that are on their comments. Maybe those are bots as well, but it's an obvious content farming scheme to get views for basically doing nothing. And I don't know whether
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's kind of the same thing that's going on with Facebook with like AI generated images that are just being shared around, and like all these older people, they don't understand that they're AI generated, so they're like, "Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. This picture is amazing. This picture of
but it's fake.
this picture of Jesus in the water or whatever."
And I'm like, folks, guys, have you never heard of iconography before?
Right. But they seem to
Yes. The answer is yes.
They seem to think that it's like real art, that someone actually made those. They're like, no, it's AI generated. And if you go to those pages that share them, there's like 1 billion AI generated images that are more clearly AI generated. They're just not as good pictures, and they don't get like shared around as much. It's kind of the same idea with these comments, and it's funny to see the replies to these comments saying like, amen, oh, praying for you, blah, blah, blah. These people that are, I mean, again, I don't know if they're bots or not, but I have a feeling that they're real people that are replying and just thinking that these comments are real. But I wish that I had, because I've definitely caught some of those channels, those same accounts, making two different comments on different videos, telling two different stories. So I wish that I had, if we dug further, we probably would have found something like that. But I think everyone, the audience gets it that these are fake, that these comments that they're leaving are fake, and they're just a way to get people to respond to them and to click on their channel and to, well, I mean, people are probably even finding those videos like organically and just putting those on, like, oh, worship playlist, I'm going to put it on, you know. But I highly even doubt that the people, if they are people running these channels, even are Christian, honestly. I think they've found this market or niche, whatever.
This niche of emotionalism.
Yeah, exactly. It's a yucky word. We don't want emotions. Emotionalism. So, yeah, that's just something that I've noticed, and I've not really seen a lot of people talking about it. So
that's why we are talking about it.
Yeah.
We're
just like
doing
Good
some
Mythical
diligence
Morning.
to expose some posers.
Exactly. They are posers. They're saying that they're Christian when they're clearly not. So, yeah, which I don't even know if there's like any solution to anything. It's just, this is a thing. And I guess maybe to make people more aware, like, stop liking these comments that you see, no matter how inspirational it may seem. If it has those names on it, like gospel music or Hillsong playlists or whatever, then that should give you cause to be like, I don't think you are who you say you are. I don't think you are a 13-year-old boy whose parents died of cancer. So
the easiest solution I can think of is just get off of the internet.
Wait, no, because then they can't watch my show.
Well, I mean, we have Apple Podcast, right?
True, but there's no video. I mean, I guess I could. Well, that's still the internet, though.
Sorry. Don't listen to me, guys. I'm just full of ultimatums today.
Just don't do anything else on the internet except for watch my channel, and watch Nick Gundy's channel. That's all you're allowed to do.
That's right.
Everything else it's just too risky. It's not safe.
Yep.
People are lying. Do you think it's like that clip from Arthur? It's like, do you think that someone would do that? Like, go on the internet and tell lies? Oh man,
that's a good. That was a good episode.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the episode was, but I just remember that clip.
Oh, Buster finding most outrageous stories on a website and then believed in one crazy story about tigers being in Elwood City, and then finding out it was their classmate that posted that story as a personal experiment.
Nice. Arthur was ahead of the times, addressing fake news. It was just such an innocent time because they're like, would someone actually do that? Like, we know that people lie in real life, but would they do it on the internet? That's just diabolical.
Anything's possible.
It's true.
Time Warner Cable.
Possible. Yeah. I've always thought that, I think, like, of course I would suffer because I wouldn't have my channel or anything, but I think the world would ultimately be a better place if the internet just shut down. If like someone hacked into the grid
we had our fun, but we abused it.
I mean, there might be a little bit of a.
I was having a passing thought. I was having a passing thought today. I'm like, yeah, we have become technology and codependent on technology, and we used to not be.
Yeah.
How can society wean itself off of it, but just like use it for more international purposes
Sure.
and like
Yeah. I mean,
being
yeah,
back to
'cause-
being a bit more simple. And I also saw a different post like technology becoming unnecessarily complicated and overall broken because like the amount of times you have to go and get something fixed, like you have a new car and then
yeah.
something farts in it and you gotta go and then like man back in the golden age, this is what the post said, the golden age of like everything working was in the 2000s. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber that I love watching. He's not a Christian or anything, but he has some funny videos. Drew Gooden did a video on like how modern cars these days are so needlessly complicated with like everything digital. And basically the conclusion that he comes to is that like, you know, basically any car that was made in like the 2000s was like the best because everything was manual, but like everything worked fine, you know, and with like digital screens and everything, it's like you got to press this button to do that, and then you got to press this, you know. Yeah, so that's a good video. I would recommend it. But yeah, I don't know. We got on this conversation about the internet and modern technology. I mean, I guess I'm doing my part. I've got my I've been using my light phone. I got rid of my smartphone, which, by the way, I may be starting to do ads for a light phone because they have an affiliate program. So I'm probably going to start doing those on the show because
Ooh.
yeah, it is something that I believe in, and I think that everyone would benefit from it. So yeah, I'm going to look into that and get some sort of link so that if people are interested, they can look into it and also support me at the same time. So, but anyways, more about that in the future. I think that's it for this segment of fake Christian YouTube channels, I guess. Guess the moral of the story is be careful out there and don't believe everything you see on the internet. But one thing that you should believe is our humble opinions. My
What are we
humble
going to talk about today?
So today we are going to talk about some releases that have some a lot of similarities to each other because they're
Yeah, they do.
There's a couple at least that are like they are re-releases in a sense of older albums, and some of these they just ask the same question for me, and that's why why were these released, but we'll get into that. So we're going to talk about the new release from Colony House. It is the When I Was Younger 10 Years Later edition. And in the same vein, we're going to talk about 1,000-Foot Krutch's The End Is Where We Begin, Reignited.
Yay.
And then we'll also be talking about Anberlin's release, Vega. And then we're going to talk about a little single from Josh Garrels, Seek High, Seek Low. So yeah, we're going to get into it. I guess let's just get it out of the way to talk about 1,000-Foot Krutch. I will say that I used to be a fan of 1,000-Foot Krutch. It was kind of in the day where I was listening to TFK, Skillet, and Red. I did have that phase that I've been out of for a long time. And I actually do remember I bought this album on CD, The End Is Where We Begin. So I do have a little bit of an attachment to it, even though I hadn't listened to it for many, many years. In fact, I don't even know where the CD is at this point. So I think you and me, Nick, are going to have a little point of disagreement about this album. I know that you were a big
Like
TFK.
the way you were talking about it prior to recording, I'm like, yeah, this is inevitable. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's the least of my worries.
Okay, well, I'm glad. Here's the thing, though, is that, okay, so I am not comparing this release to like I'm not saying that I dislike it because it is a 1,000 Foot Krutch album. I dislike it because I believe that it is an inferior release to the original, where
Right.
because I listened to the original before listening to the Reignited album, and it took me back. I won't say that I loved it, but I was like, you know what, this is kind of a fun time. I don't love this album, but like 1,000 Foot Krutch definitely has, they've got a thing going for this album, and I had a little bit of fun listening to it. And then
Yeah, that's it. I can say it too, because prior to Clifford sharing with me what we're going to listen to, I was revisiting 1,000 Foot Krutch a lot for a few months as well. So I've gotten myself very way acquainted with the "End Is Where We Begin" album,
mm-hmm.
and then finding out about they did their 10-year reissue, or like a big collab project.
Mm-hmm.
My like one edge that I like about the new album, I can tell they either re-recorded their instruments or they had them remastered. Because of
Yeah, see, I don't know what they did, but like in terms of its production and the mixing, it's, especially compared to the original album, I don't think it's good. I think it's a very badly mixed and badly produced album. And I don't know if because there were some songs that were obviously a little bit different than the original. Like, because this whole album isn't really, it's not similar to what Switchfoot did last year with the Beautiful Letdown, where they basically like re-recorded like new versions of it that were mostly similar, but you could tell that it was like a brand new recording. These, I'm not very sure. Like, I'm not sure if most of these songs were re-recorded or if they just took the original tracks to and remix
like
them.
if I even tried to do the same thing, I wouldn't even remember. And I actually don't even remember the settings that I put on my rig.
Sure, yeah. And so I don't know how they did this. I mean,
they did something.
So I guess I'll get into it. I think there is like way too much and I'm not saying that I'm like a producer head. I'm not always savvy on the ins and outs of production and mixing. I mean, that's why I have someone else do the mixing and mastering on my music. But it just sounds, this is my opinion, this is my humble opinion. There's way too much compression on the drums and the vocals, and probably on a lot of other things. The mix never really knew what to do with the vocals, especially some of the guest vocals. Like, I think the vocals in general were put too much in the forefront of the mix and not blended well with everything else. And the guest vocals, most of the time, they felt like that they were kind of like in competition with Trevor's vocals rather than complementing them. It was like I would listen to a song and like it would take me a minute to realize who was singing, because they were both singing at the same time, and like it kind of like went in and out, so it's like I don't know what's going on with this. I mean, there were some songs that were better because they had the guest vocalist like do the harmonies, which I think is a better idea. So those weren't as bad, but when it comes to instrumentation, there's barely nothing new about these arrangements aside from, the bad mixing and the vocals and such. But there were some songs that I noticed that were more near the end of the album that I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're doing something different with this song for some reason. So yeah, it wasn't as fun of a listen for me, as just kind of the mixing and everything was kind of a headache for me personally. and so I just didn't get a whole bunch of enjoyment out of it. And so I was just left, like, after listening to it, I was just left with wondering, like, why was this made? You know, it's like one joke
nostalgia. That's why.
I mean, yeah, and yeah, it is become a trend, especially, you know, we're going to talk about Colony House, and then there was like Switchfoot and such. Like, there
We can all
seems to
blame
be,
Taylor Swift for this.
yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, with like Taylor Swift, it kind of made sense because I know there was something about like she was having a legal
For legal
battle.
reasons.
Yeah,
It makes
Yeah.
sense.
yeah, and she basically kind of like reinterpreted the songs like instrumentally and such. And Switchfoot kind of did the same thing. It just was, I personally wasn't a big fan. And then they released the deluxe edition of the Beautiful Letdown, our version, their version, with having a bunch of these artists cover the songs. And that's what I thought what album was going to be, but it's basically just Thousand Foot Krutch redoing their songs, but with guest vocals on it instead. So it's just weird, and I don't get it. One joke that I wrote down in my notes was more like the end is where it should have ended. Wah, wah. But yeah, so that's me kind of hating on the album. I really did not enjoy it. But what were your thoughts on it, Nick?
Well, they'll probably be less elaborate, but thank you for pointing out some of the recording issues of it. Bro, I'm like, oh yeah, those parts are pretty true.
Yeah.
For me, what I liked was like a mixture of different artists and bands that I grew up with as well. For example, Icon for Hire and Adam Here from 3 Days Grace. Having a high school throwback. That's pretty much what I was feeling.
True. Sure, yeah. And I guess I don't really have
even
as
for
much
some of those
attachment to them.
even for some of those respective songs, it worked. It worked for that.
Mm-hmm.
Was everything?
I think
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I maybe like would enjoy it better if it was like, I don't know, if it was like a live thing. Like they performed this whole album and had all these guest vocalists on it. Like that could be pretty fun. But I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think it was executed that well. But I mean, it was interesting to see a lot of these music. Most of them I didn't know, but of course I knew Red, and
Yeah.
I was familiar with Icon for Hire. I never really listened to them, but yeah, a lot of the other ones I did not recognize because it's kind of a whole subgenre of music that I'm just not as connected to anymore, you know? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, I'm glad that you were able to get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, I have no attachment. I don't have a strong attachment to Thousand Foot Krutch. I also thought it was interesting because like this album is like, the original album is like 12 years old. So I thought it was weird that this is basically a 12-year anniversary. Like, why not do it 2 years ago when it was a 10-year anniversary? So, and I'll be honest, I didn't realize that Thousand Foot Krutch had released music since this album. They've had a couple albums since then. I thought that they hadn't released any music, which they haven't released music in a while, but apparently it hasn't been as long as I thought that it was. So I thought that was interesting. And I think that's why a lot of other fans I've seen are upset, because they waited so long for new music from them. And then they come out with this and it's like, okay. So, but yeah, I personally would not recommend this, but if you are a TFK fan, I guess it's worth checking out. You know, form your own opinion about it. But
Everybody sing hey, tell 'em turn it up till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a dance
Yeah, so that's the end is where we begin. Reignited, my 1,000-foot Krutch. In the same vein, we will talk about When I Was Younger, 10 years later, from Colony House. It's a little bit different, but it's kind of going in the same vein of like a nostalgic release with like reinterpretations of the tracks. But to me, this is more of a it's more of a deluxe edition of the original album. And I have to say that I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought that I would. Cause like, so for context, I love the original When I Was Younger album. It's like the only Colony House album that I really love all the way through. I haven't been as big of a fan of their later albums that they've released, but When I Was Younger has always had a near and dear place in my heart. And when I saw the track listing for this album, I I wasn't very excited because like I'm not always a big fan of orchestral versions of songs because more often than not they tend to be more boring than the original in a way, just because like the way that they're arranged is so
And
like
sometimes a mood
basic.
killer.
Yeah, exactly. Like they take out the oomph of the song. But I was very surprised as to how they really compensated with these versions. They were a lot of fun, personally, for me to listen to. They weren't like your run of the mill like orchestral versions that you would like find on YouTube of songs. It was like they're like actual good arrangements with like a live orchestra. And I think they really made up for the fact that, they took away the guitars and the drums and such. And just like the way that the songs were arranged just kind of compensated for the fact, the fact that those instruments are not present. And I thought that they were fun arrangements, and it's not all orchestral versions. There's also a couple of bonus tracks on there that I actually personally liked a lot. I don't know if they're like new songs or if they're unreleased songs that didn't make it on the album. I'm not sure, but like Blue Skies and Tell Me What You Want, I thought were pretty good. Um, they also got what they call Casio versions of songs on the album that are more Casio, meaning like the drum machine kind of sound with like some 80s synth on them. And I thought that those were a lot of fun too. So I was very surprised that how much I enjoyed it. Maybe it had to do with the fact that I listened to it right after I listened to 1,000-foot Krutch, and so maybe that had an effect on me. But as a fan of the original album, I respect this release a lot personally. So and if you're a Colony House fan and a fan of that album, I would recommend you check it out. Nick, what were your thoughts? Had you ever listened to the original album before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Did you get a chance to listen to this at all?
Yeah, I listened to this one a couple of times as well this week.
Okay. Any additional thoughts on it? What were your overall feelings?
I don't got a lot because like I'm not personally attached to Colony House.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have several friends from college who actually do like their music, and even some of them met the band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know if you're probably aware of this, but two of the members of Colony House are the sons of Stephen Curtis Chapman. I don't know if you were aware of that.
Nope.
Yeah, well, you are now.
But it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely hear a lot of like young Stephen Curtis Chapman in the lead singer's voice. I think it's Caleb Chapman, I'm pretty sure. And then the drummer is the brother. So yeah.
Okay.
Also, one fun little tidbit that I saw them post on social media about this album is the album cover for this version. So the original album cover is, the picture on the left side of the kid, and apparently the story behind that original album cover is that Caleb Chapman just randomly saw this kid with his mom and thought that he would be like perfect for the album cover. And so he like reached out to the mom and said like, "Hey, is it okay if we take pictures of your son for our album cover?" And it worked out, and they were able to make it happen. And then for this version, they got in contact with the same family of the same kid and asked if they could recreate the album cover 10 years later. So that's the same kid right there, some random kid that he found in public, and they recreated it and made that album cover. So I thought that was quite fun, a quite fun little tidbit right there. So all right, well, I guess that wraps up our thoughts on When I Was Younger, 10 Years Later
Yeah.
by Colony House.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you need.
Another interesting album release. No, it's not a nostalgic album release, but still something that I kind of like question. But so we talked about Anberlin's new music a few episodes ago when their new single released of Walk Alone, which featured Matty Mullins as the stand-in frontman for Anberlin, temporary frontman, as Stephen Christian is on a hiatus. There's a lot of backstory to this album. So in the beginning, there was a band called Anberlin. No, we're not going to go that far. So Anberlin, they broke up and they were away for a few years, and then they got back together for like a reunion tour, and then I guess they decided, you know what, let's just come back together officially. And then they did, and they released 2 EPs, and I am blanking on the names of those EPs. I'll look those up real quick.
They're called Silver Line and Convinced.
Yep, Convinced and Silverline. Yep. And so they released those 2 EPs, and those EPs were great. I think I talked about Convinced when it came out. Silverline, I don't think I was doing the show at the time that it released. I might have been on my break when my computer crashed. But they're both great. And the common thought of a lot of Anberlin fans were like, well, why wasn't this an album? Why didn't they just release it as an album? And then the news of Stephen Christian stepping away from the band for a little bit, which is like kind of like you only got back together like a couple of years ago. Like, why didn't you think of this in the first place? But whatever, I digress. I don't want to offend Stephen Christian because he does the outro on this show. But so that happens, and they announced that Matty Mullins was going to be stepping in temporarily. Matty Mullins from Memphis Mayfire, and which was an interesting choice, and then they came out later and said like, oh, we're going to record some stuff with him too. So, and then they said that they had a whole album recorded, and then they released this, and it was like, oh, wait a minute. It's just the 2 EPs put together for an album, plus 2 new songs with Matty Mullins as the lead singer. So a lot of confusion surrounding this album, and I feel like it's kind of tainted the reception of it, at least for me personally, because the thing is that I can't hate this album, of course, because I already loved the 2 EPs, but with the whole situation surrounding it, and with these two songs with Matty Mullins, it's kind of tainted the reception of this album for me, where like I personally I don't understand what they're doing with Matty Mullins, and I don't really care about these two new singles with Matty Mullins. I mean, they're like fine, but I've never really. The thing about Anberlin is that Stephen Christian has such a unique voice and brings a lot of the sound of into the band and makes them unique. Matty Mullins, I've always thought, is a very like run of the mill pretty boy voice. You know, it was like,
And he still has that.
yeah, and he sings fine, but
Yeah.
there's nothing unique about his sound that is like anywhere close to like Stephen Christian. And so I just thought that was an interesting choice for him to like step in for him. And so when he, with these songs, without the presence of Stephen Christian, they don't really sound like Anberlin songs, really. They kind of sound like less hardcore Memphis Mayfire songs, you know? So I don't know. What were your feelings about this album? I don't know if you have a whole lot of attachment to Anberlin personally.
I do not, but after listening to this album, I understand why you hype them up so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of the songs
great-
on here
great
are
riffs.
great.
Oh yeah, they are.
Which is why this is so complicated for me, because there's like a great album
Well,
in there.
why'd you have to go make things so complicated?
Very nice. I mean, yeah, that's the song that they should do, that they should cover.
I mean,
As a
sometimes I
message to
still
their
do it
fans.
live. Sometimes I still do that one live at shows, and like when
really?
I'm not doing it on Twitch. Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever caught you playing it, but that's fun. Yeah, that's basically how I
Nope,
feel.
it's been a few months, but yeah.
Yeah. So like, I guess that's the other thing, is that like before this album was out, a lot of fans were already like making playlists of, if these two EPs were an album, like what would be the track list. So a lot of people were already doing that. And then when they did this, you know, they obviously they didn't put like the two EPs back to back. They mixed it up a bit. And I think some of the track listing is a little different. I don't know if I personally would have started the album out with Animals. I personally probably would have picked something like Two Graves or Lacerate, because something that Anberlin is kind of known for doing is that like each of their albums just like starts with a banger, you know. And Animals is a great song, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a slow burn, you know. It builds up as it goes. So I thought that was an interesting choice. And just the fact that it's broken up by Seven and Walk Alone, it just kind of ruins the experience a little bit. Like Walk Alone, I remember when it came out, like it's not a bad song, and I can definitely hear Stephen Christian singing this song. So I would have liked it better if he did. But Seven, I don't think is a really good song personally, even as an Anberlin song. I think the lyrics are a little cringe. Like welcome to what is the lyrics? It's like welcome to the Vega era. Now it's like, oh, that's not very it's not very Anberlin-y of you. And also, we don't really know what Vega means. Also, I think it's kind of cheeky that the song is, I'm pretty sure the song is in 7/8 and they called it 7. It's like, oh wow, very creative guy.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
Yeah, it would have been more on the nose if the whole song was 7 minutes. Which I guess I didn't think about this. Is this their 7th LP? I wonder. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to count that now, because then I have to go through all the live ones. Okay, wait, no. One. Man, they have so many live albums that they released. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you would call an album, because they have their Lost Songs album, and they also have Devotion, which is basically a deluxe version of Vital. So I don't know. Maybe it is. But either way, I guess my overall thoughts is that it's a good album because it has 2 great EPs in it, and it's kind of pulled back a little bit because of the 2 tracks with Matty Mullins that are not that great, and just the whole situation. It also just seems like too much of a cash grab, like, because fans already bought physical copies of both of those EPs, and now there's this new album that is the 2 EPs plus 2 songs. I mean, I guess I'm okay because I didn't get around to buying those EPs, so I could just buy this album and I'll be okay. But yeah, just kind of cash grabby, but I'm sure I'll be able to come back to it and be able to enjoy it. I don't know. Did you have any additional thoughts to that?
No, not really. Just enjoyed it.
Well, good. Yeah, see, like, as someone who's a new fan, I can see how you would enjoy it. Did you enjoy the Matty Mullins tracks as much?
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah. Well, fine is not good enough for me. Anberlin is too good of an album for just fine. But I don't know. I guess overall, I'd give it a 7. It could have been at least an 8, because I think those EPs are definitely at least an 8, but whatever. I digress. I just hope that Anberlin comes back and with Stephen Christian and with some really good stuff. Sorry I'm boring you so much. I see you yawning.
Sorry, I had all the energy. Right as we were starting. I'm like, oh no, it's creeping up again.
Oh man. Well, I hope that's not the same for our audience. Well, we've got one more thing to look at, and I personally don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I really like this track. It's Seek High, Seek Low by Josh Garrels. Y'all know I'm a huge Josh Garrels fan, and he's been releasing some new singles, and this is his latest one. And I don't know. It's a really great track. I don't know if it's my favorite from the recent singles, but it's really good. It's a beautiful song about seeking God and his kingdom, and it just turns into a worship song basically, and it's got the usual folky kind of bluesy influences that Josh Garrels likes to have in a lot of his music, and of course his voice sounds incredible. So yeah, do you ever listen to a whole lot of Josh Garrels, Nick?
Nope.
I'm just introducing you to all the stuff today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of this track?
I dug this one too.
Yeah.
It was because I'm reading through his lyrics through a comment on his YouTube.
Oh yeah.
It was like straightforward, and let's see. I forgot my train of thought.
You're good. You're talking about the lyrics. Were there any that stood out to you?
Let's see. I'm looking at, well, besides the there's that we can never escape from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, Josh gets a pass because he's got a great voice. So.
Oh yeah. and like, it's not marketed It's not like Christian music market
Right,
familiar.
there is a certain way to do it
Right.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the typical CCM millennial whoa-ohs, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, one lyric that I'm seeing is that like if we seek him, we shall find treasure buried in the field. The great mysteries are revealed. The
Mhm.
great mysteries revealed.
Yeah, a lot of biblical references there to Jesus's parables about seeking the kingdom, you know, buying a field, selling all your possessions just to buy the field that has that one treasure in it. It's great. And that's one thing I've always appreciated about Josh is that like while his songs aren't always like straight up, you know, scriptural songs, he'll have a lot of like biblical and scriptural references in his songs, and he does it in a very a great and poetic way. So
Man.
yeah, big song, big fan of this song, and I'm excited for when the album comes out. I can't remember. I think he's pulling a Gorillaz with this album by releasing each track individually as it goes. Which I get. Oh, I guess John Mark McMillan did that recently too. So I think I saw something about that.
I know of one Twitch musician who did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Yeah, yeah, and then Peter Gabriel did that most recently with his album. So, which I kind of have a love-hate relationship with. I've as time has gone on, I haven't been as big of a fan of when artists like release so many singles before the album is out, and it's like I would prefer that it's like maybe one or two singles and then wait until the album is out, because by the time the album is out, it's like I feel like I've already listened to most of this album and the magic is kind of gone, you know.
Yeah.
Gorillaz, somehow it worked for them, but I've had those kind of releases kind of ruin an album for me. Not really completely ruin, but you know, like I said, the magic is kind of gone when the album is officially released. So yeah, it depends on, I guess it depends. So I hope Josh isn't really doing that, but if he is, you know, I'll still listen to it. So, and I clearly have really enjoyed all of his singles so far. So yeah, Seek High, Seek Low by Josh Garrels. It's good.
Open up the gates, let nothing separate us.
And I'm done being a negative Nancy now.
Yeah.
I even did that for Josh. Like I was complaining about album releases and such. I don't know what's wrong with me. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for this episode.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Thanks again to John for talking with us for a little bit. Or talking with me, I guess. Like I said, he will be returning for the next episode. Fingers crossed that everything goes well for our conversation, that nothing ruins our plans. But yeah, that'll be the next episode, just a continued conversation with John Van Deusen. And hopefully we'll have Joshua joining us again in the next episode. But, you know, sometimes life happens. Yeah. So, Nick, you want to say anything? You have anything to plug before we go?
Yeah. So let's see. Last Friday, so like not from the past week, but like the weekend before, I released a set list video that I did at Audiofeed for.
Oh yeah, I still need to watch that.
The city. Oh yeah. So it's called City of Yanni Depp, the Chariot cover set from Audiofeed of 2024. And I spent a good chunk of my day off just like editing together all the footage that I recorded, and then Jean Pierre Boudreaux.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say good luck.
I was trying to do it from memory, so I apologize if I butchered your last name. And me and Clifford's buddy Corey O'Carroll,
St. Pine Hills.
both St. Pine Hills,
Yep.
who were kind enough to record some footage for me, and I put all that together, and like I have not worked hard on a video for several months or maybe a few years.
I can imagine, just putting all that footage together to make a cohesive video. That's got to be crazy. I'm excited to watch it. I'll watch it as soon as I can.
I shared that video with our Audiofeed Facebook group and the Furnace Fest Facebook group.
Oh, nice.
And it's had really good reception so far.
Nice. Well, yeah. So if you're a Chariot fan, definitely go check it out. I will, because I unfortunately missed it at Audiofeed, so I will be this will be my way of condoning for my sins. So
Man.
And I'll try to, if I remember, I'll leave a link in the description for people to watch it, or at least in the comments or something. But yeah, cool. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So you guys have a blessed week, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Oh, I guess a little update. I'm starting to go through footage for my front porch step documentary. So I'm in the beginning stages of that. Trying to take more time. I've just been so busy. So I'm taking more time with my creative endeavors. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So, all right. So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks with John Van Deusen, and it'll be great. So, and remember that I'm Clifford today, and you're
and
not.
I am not.
Nick's not. You're not. Only me. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Hey, this is Stephen Christian from Anberlin. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and also feel free to subscribe to I'm Clifford Today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating and a review. Also, be sure to check out Clifford's Clips and Highlights channel. I'm Clifford Today. If you want to hear more from Clifford, check out his other podcast, Podwood Forecast. And there's always t-shirts and other merch you can buy, so be sure to take a look at that. There are links to everything in the episode description, so thanks for stopping by, and remember, he's Clifford Today, and you're not.